Man, one of the most challenging things we can do in life is really self-evaluate yourself. And sometimes in the process of self-evaluating, you may expose yourself. But when you focus on self, you don't get as much. You know, if somebody asks you a question, you can probably talk more, express more than you asking yourself that question. When you sit there, you're in your comfort zone with yourself. You understand yourself. So when you say things, it's more of an understanding of what you mean, you know. You can say something simple to yourself, and it's simple, but you can have that same simple words or phrase to another individual, and it can become complicated, you know. That's why a lot of times people feel comfortable by themselves compared to dealing with someone. You know, you notice that with people wanting families, people dealing with their current families, it can be seen as easier. I had this question, and the question was brought upon me based off recently I had a lot of opportunities that I've been working hard to get in the past 6 months, and a lot of the opportunities are like arising. It's like in front of me, and it's like crap. Okay, and the thing about me, it's not these are opportunities. I be thinking about what happens after I take these opportunities. What's the next one? And I was thinking, your demeanor, the person you are, the people you surround yourself around is really based on what motivates you. So I was thinking, like, what motivates an individual? You know, is it internally, externally, family, non-family, work, goals, rewards, money? You know, what motivates? And this can get really deep when you bring up motivation, because there's so many domains in life, and we don't have a universal motivation. It's situational, but I'm going to try to bring it down to the simplest form. And to me, it's you was born, you're going to die. Those are two guarantees. Birth, life. Now, we can argue about afterlife. We can argue about how we were created. That's an argument. But living and dying, that's no argument. So we're going to break it down to the simplest form when it comes to motivation. Okay. Initially, your motivation comes from you don't have something and you want something. So what's going to push you to it? And in life, we all want really one thing, really. We want improvement from current situations, you know. You don't hear many people say, you know what, I want to make less money. You don't hear people say, you know, I want to go to jail. You don't hear people that say, I don't like what I have, I want to give it away and not get anything in return. You know, whenever you give something to somebody, you want something back, and that what you want something back is different for everybody. Some people want external rewards. Some people want internal rewards. An external reward would be a financial or trading goods. Internal is the gratification of being appreciated by yourself or somebody else. If you give all you have to somebody, you want to feel like it was worth it, you know. You don't want to give somebody what is precious, valuable to you, and they don't treat it special. If you buy somebody a Christmas gift, you really want them appreciated. You don't want to have a follow-up conversation and they say, oh yeah, I didn't like that gift, I threw it away, I gave it away. You want to hear, that was a great gift, I needed it. And same thing with money. As a counselor for years, I was always challenged with the thought of I'm giving a service. And when you have a I'm giving a service mentality, you want something from in return. And for me, it was really challenging putting a dollar amount on my services. I never felt like, ooh, okay, yes, I gave $30 an hour worth of service. Oh, yeah, I gave $40 worth of hour service. Even at your job, last night when I was at work, I looked at my check stub and I was like, man, I worked this many hours. I make this much money. I was like, crap, I don't want to come to work tomorrow. I want to call in sick now. And I was like, man, am I motivated by money? Or motivated by I need a job? And am I motivated by healthcare? Am I motivated by I feel like I'm getting bang for my buck at work? It really like opened up a whole new perspective of everything. And when it comes to motivation, you can't question somebody's motivation because it's theirs. You have to respect it because you want the same in return. And it's the same thing I'm talking about with giving and receiving. If you motivate and you are feeling a certain way in that moment, you want others to respectfully be able to go on accord with your motivation and what you're doing. You don't want people to disregard your thoughts and beliefs off the actions you're doing because that starts to question your motivation. You're like, I do this for this reason. Okay, I'm doing it. Don't question me that I'm doing it. You may question, hey, why are you doing it that way? But don't question me. Don't say, you're not doing your job. You're not a good parent. Don't tell me I'm not a good parent. You can tell me on how to improve. You can tell me on how to become a better worker. But you don't tell somebody they're not good at something. Because what happens is they're motivated by something that's causing them to do what they're doing. So when you question them, it goes all the way down to the motivation. And when you question somebody's motivation, it's definitely negative. Nothing positive is going to come out of questioning somebody's motivation. That's why it's critical to respect people at all times. And when you feel like you are disrespecting, you take a step back and correct yourself. Or respect being corrected. If you don't respect being corrected, you're going to constantly go into that same cycle, question somebody's motivation. And a lot of times, I notice when somebody says their motivation is their kids or motivation is money, it's super scary for me when I hear those things. And it scares me because you're not in control of that, but you're motivated by that. It's like you get in your car, you trust your car to get there, but you're in control of your car. But there is a possibility that your car loses control. So you don't want to live your life based on something not in control in. And we have to get down to what we are in control of. What are we really in control of? What are we in control of? Is it life? Is it death? Which one are we in control of? You are born in the world. You didn't decide. You don't even decide how long you're going to live. You can attempt to take your life and not be successful and won't even know it. I have been around, worked with clients that are living today as vegetables and they're living as vegetables due to a self-inflicted attempt of suicide. Client living, but not up to their standards, not up to their parents and their family standards. So this client was unsuccessful at ending their life. And it taught me a lot about internal things. You don't know someone's internal intentions, so you never question. You help to improve. You find out where you can fit in, but you definitely try not to question somebody's internal. Externals are really challenging because externals really come from their internal thoughts. The external is like the outside of their inside. If somebody cares about money a lot, they're going to do activities outside to get it. But internally, they'll be considered greedy. But greedy doesn't necessarily look like something. Greedy is internal, but the action is not really seen as greedy. You can go to a buffet with somebody, and as y'all at the buffet, y'all eating food. It's tons of food. You can eat 5-6 plates. But if you eat 5 or 6 plates and I eat 2 plates, I can view you as being greedy. What if you haven't ate all day and you're hungry, new dishes you haven't tasted? And what if I ate lunch? I have more in my body, so I have less I can consume. You have a lot that you're able to consume. So for you to question somebody off, hey, you greedy, that's definitely inappropriate. And it's like disrespectful to someone's external relationship on what motivates them. When I go to a buffet, I like to go to a buffet on an empty stomach. Because I plan to eat a lot. And my motivation to eat a lot is based on, man, how often you get all this food for this price, but also learn how you can mix and match without consequences. When I'm at home cooking, I don't like to cook a lot of food because I don't eat a lot of food at one time. I'm really conscious of what I'm eating. When I go to a buffet, I throw that all out the window. So my eating approach is totally different at a buffet than at home. But it's based off my motivation. My motivation is to taste all this food. My motivation is not to be health conscious at the buffet. Also, motivation can come from external factors like family. You can have a negative family history of something, and you can know that. And by knowing that, you can have the motivation to be different. When I was a kid, I remember my mother not having a college degree. I remember my mother not having a vehicle. I remember my mother not being financially stable growing up. I remember my mom being a little me. So that motivated me to be the parent I am today. External. But that external went internal and carried on as I got older. I didn't hold my mom to the same standards as a 8-year-old than an 18-year-old. But it became internal because I knew I wanted to use it one day. But it was in a respectful manner. I don't disrespect my mom because how she raised me. I don't disrespect my mom because I disagree with things and where her life was. I respect it because it was part of my motivation. So you don't want to disrespect your motivation because it turns and it reflects back on you in the mirror. Because at the end of the day, it's all about your perspective, what you think, what you believe, and how you live it. You cannot be